To put yourself in Joseph's shoes. His brothers sold him into slavery. He's falsely accused of rape. He is wrongly imprisoned. Despite these awful things, Joseph was never bitter or angry. In fact, he was the opposite of that. He was humble and compassionate, and we wonder, how is that possible? It was possible because Joseph saw God's sovereign hand in all of his life. When Potiphar's wife tried to seduce Joseph, he immediately thought of God. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? When Joseph was in prison and the cupbearer baker had their dreams, Joseph's response was, do not interpretations belong to God? When he was called before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said, I've heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Joseph's reply was, I can't do that, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. When Joseph's wife bore him 2 sons, he gave them names that bore witness to God's faithfulness. He named the first one Manasseh, saying, it's because God has made me forget all my trouble. And his second son, Ephraim, saying, it's because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. When he first reveals his identity to his brothers in Egypt, he explains, you sold me, but God sent me. At the end of Genesis, when Joseph's brothers feared payback now that their father was dead, he replied, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Just before his death, Joseph said to his brothers, I'm about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So from the first to the last, the sovereign God was at the center of Joseph's life. God was the ultimate cause and mover in his life. Joseph saw God's hand in everything, and it kept him from being angry or bitter toward those who hurt him. Maybe someone's hurt you. Maybe someone's wronged you, and you're angry, you're bitter. When you submit to God's ultimate sovereignty, you can say with Joseph, you meant that for evil, but God meant it for good. And when you can say that, you can have healing instead of bitterness and revenge.